Hello, I'm Chris Gray. This is Reality, Revelation, Restoration. I haven't done a video in a while because for whatever reason, no one's watching. I don't know why. I go on YouTube and I see people watch the most ridiculous things. I do it. But I see when I go out into the world and do my job, everywhere I go, I see oppression. People are oppressed. I know it. I can tell by the way I know by their body language. I can tell that they're not happy, and that I know that they're searching. Everyone is. I know they are, and they're looking for the truth that will set them free. But they look outside themselves. They have the wrong. They've been lied to, and they lied to themselves, and they've been lied to. The only way you can achieve freedom is to go back in time. Well, you have to go back and see why you can't, with your effort, free yourself from your depression, your addictions, your neediness, your greediness. This country, this whole world everyone is looking outside. Everyone gets into stuff. They don't have any vision. They have the vision of their eyes, but they have not. Most people, the people that do have real vision are few and far between. Almost everyone that you know is possessed by idols, or the idol, the ego is an idol. It's an identity that it isn't an identity, but people believe it is an identity because it talks. It talks and it pretends to be an identity, but it's not an identity. But you'll never know it isn't until you have presence of mind to be able to take control of it. You have to take control. It's yourself. It's your little elf self. No one has ever taught you how to be who you are, because they don't want you to be, because the world can't use you as, if you're God's child, which you are, that you don't know this yet, most likely don't know it, or you have an idea, you do know it deep down, but you don't believe it. So, let me see now. If you have anxiety, if you're anxious and depressed, or have feelings of inadequacy, or confused, or angry, resentful, all these behaviors in emotions, it's because you don't know who you are. I say this in all my videos that no one's watching. No one's watched them. That's why I stopped making them. Now, I describe to everyone how they have to do this, but no one, I did have viewers for a while, and then all of a sudden they fell away. I don't know, no one gives me any feedback, so I don't know how I can be of service to you. But you have to give up your pride is a lie. In this culture, in society, wants you to believe that pride is, you have to have pride. No, you don't. It's no good. It's useless, vanity. Pride, I don't care who tells you pride is okay. It's not okay. It puts you in an exalted state where you can't, where the saving grace can't reach you because it's a will. And you see, you can't argue with a will. Like the will that is not of the original will of who you are, that's not scared to listen to what other people have to say. It's not going to censor other people. It's not afraid. It's not afraid of what anyone's going to say because it can't be hurt. It's indestructible. It's your soul. It's God created. God, you are a child of, you are an offshoot. You are you're a child of God. All right? I mean, so, but you don't know that. No. The reason why you got the way you are is because I was once oppressed, not too much, but I was a rebel and I was angry and I was half right, but I didn't have the whole picture because I was I had everything out of order. Now, how do you restore order and get control of your little elf self, the word self, the self that's in the energy, the will, with the programming that it is. This is tricky until you see the truth. Then it's not really tricky anymore. It's just you have to learn. You've learned your lesson now, and you know what you need to not do and what you have to do. And so you stay in you stay in the grace of God. You do thy will. Thy will be done. Not my will, thy will. Thy will be done. Thy will is simple. It's not complicated, and it will. You don't make decisions. I mean, you come to a point where you just you let things happen, and you take them as it comes, and you do what's necessary or not necessary. You do some. If you don't, there's sometimes you don't have to do anything. You just, when you don't know what to do, you don't do anything. You just don't do it. You have the will, you have the self-control to know what to do in all the situations. Now, I'm going to go over a brief synopsis of how you were misled. It is many factors that can be involved. You're a product of your environment. You've been tampered with. You are branded by the culture in the world. You learned from the outside in instead of the inside out. The outside got in and made a home in you. And it's not it, it's not easy to just talk into a camera, you know. Let me see now. You're a product of trickle down immorality. See, when you get right in the right will, which is, you can't describe it. It's just happiness in depth, in vision. You have vision, you see. If you sit still and close your eyes, and you sit still, now your eyes are taken out of the equation, but you can still see. You are alive and you are aware. And now that your eyes are shut, you're probably relaxed a little too. Now, you have to sit in this state, this meditative state, until what happens is you become trickle charged like a battery. You're spiritually dead. That if you're oppressed, you are spiritually dead because you're taken over by illusions and images and spells. No. When you build up a presence of mind through sitting in meditative prayer, it doesn't take any effort. All you're doing, well, the reason why you're doing this is because you're going to slow everything down. You're going to slow it down. You're going to kill the momentum of the energy in the ego's momentum. It's going to wind down, and then at some point you're going to get some distance. You're going to get some objectivity to it. And over time, you're going to get rid of time is what you're going to do, because you're time sensitive. As long as you want the stuff of the system produces communism and capitalism, you're screwed, because these people are liars. They're con artists. They're thieves. They don't care about you. They don't care. They want to profit off of you. They may appear to be okay. Some of them are okay. But there's too many. The problem with Americans is there too many followers. They want to follow. You don't want to be a follower. You want to be a leader. But you don't want to have, you want to have the right will when you do this. And the will of God is not an exalted state that can be laid low by the predators in the environment. Some people are predators and they don't mean to do it. They don't know they're doing it. They know not what they do. Now, when you sit still with your eyes shut, if you do not, you have to ground yourself. You have to remain meditating, because the ego, it may hide from you. When you start to put it on notice, when you sit still with the purpose of watching how your little self operates, it doesn't like it. And it's not going to like it at all. And most people cannot handle this, the pain of it, of watching them. You have to be a brave soul to do this. Because it's going to put you through, you're going to go through a little process. A process of letting go. And it takes time, and you can't try to make it happen. You can't try to change anything. This is all the wrong will. You don't need to change anything. You see, where you have everything backwards. You think that strength, pride is strength, and vision is weakness. Because the ego doesn't want you to see that real strength doesn't come from it. It has energy, that's all. It is in possession. It is the energy with the words and the disguises. And it has many disguises. This is why you have to be on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can't listen to the experts. You don't need an expert. You know if you're under control of the ego. If you need doctors, lawyers, a supporting cast that'll tell you, a supporting cast of characters that enable you to keep going down the wrong way. The one that comes over with the 6-pack of beer, and smoking, the one that keeps bringing the pot over, and the pills, in the drug dealers, in the doctors, the dishonest doctors, in the pharmacy, and all these people. You don't need any of it. I'm not on any drugs. I don't have high blood pressure. I never get sick. I don't have high cholesterol. And I have a fun life. I'm not a prude. It's not that you can't enjoy stuff and things in this life, but you can take it or leave it. If someone comes in and says, I'm taking all this, and you can't stop them, and there's no way that, like they're going to take it, they're going to force you, they're going to come in and take it. You have to use common sense here. But if someone is in your work environment and they're a bully, or they say, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to take this away and that away, but you won't lose your job, then let them take it. Let them take it. Yield to overcome. To know the right, to the right action, the right reaction, or the action to take takes practice. From God will show you. Your Father in heaven has a plan for you, but all you have to do is fall into line with His plan, and you will find strength to do what you never thought you could do, because you won't have an image. You won't have an image that's always trying to save face and make excuses why you have to keep having these weaknesses and defects in your character, because you're adding stuff to yourself that is degrading and degenerating your being. How much effort does it take to be alive? You see, it takes a lot of effort to maintain an image of lies, built on lies. Everything has to be just so. It all depends on the conditions and people in approval. But when you are who you were supposed to be in the first place, it doesn't matter what other people think, have, or do. You will find your purpose in life. But you got to get off all the drugs first. The booze, the pills. If you're a man, you got to leave the women alone because you don't know how to treat a woman. You don't know how. You aren't ready to have a woman in your life. If she'll come in and take over your whole life and tell you how it's going to be. And then this is what they do. They have a will. They have their will, and it's not in line with God's will. I don't care what woman it is. It's not in line with God's will. It's an emotional will. It's needy. It wants the things that the system produces. It wants the idols. It wants security. There is no security. Your security comes from knowing where you came from and where you're going, and you find the depth of your being, and all the answers come to you. But you don't need to try. It comes to you naturally because you're in line with God's will. You have faith, and faith is real immunity. It's immunity to disease. It's immunity to the snake's venom. When Jesus said you'll have immunity to snake venom, he wasn't just talking about the venom of a real snake. He's talking about people. So, what you're going to do, start your life, you're going to have a divine reset in life. You got to sit still and allow a higher power, a force, to take over your life. You got to hand your life over. If you know that you're not happy and you're oppressed and you're looking outside for answers and they're not there, everything you try doesn't work anymore, and you're getting sicker and more angry, and more frustrated, you must know that there's got to be a better way. There is. And it doesn't come from your friend, your buddy. It comes from in. Your mind already has the answer that you're looking for. But the ego doesn't want you to find that answer. It's not going to allow you to. It's going to go for pseudo good because it can't take purity. It can't take the light. It can't stand it. It can't get above it. It can't rise above it. It can't outmaneuver it. It can't. This is why you have to have the vision, the inner vision. It's there. It doesn't go. You still have it. You can't kill it. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to a higher order of things. And God wants us to see that we're here to bear witness to Him and His creation. And He'll take care of us. Now, that doesn't mean that you just sit around with like a bump on a log and wait for God to give you stuff. God helps those that help themselves. You have to do what you know is right. And as time goes on, your intuition, your own intuition, God-given intuition, will grow. You will start to see things that you never saw before. And you'll start to get stronger, and your health will get better. You become calmer. You'll be able to approach what was unapproachable before. You will see that there's no more barriers there to stop you. The ego is always going to be there. Don't be afraid of that thing. Don't be afraid of its disguise. It says if you do this, this is going to happen. Or you're gonna die if you do this. It will try to scare you. It will try to put imaginary scenarios in the way, or it will dredge up the past and just throw it in your face and try to make you feel guilty, or just keep you stuck in the past of a sensual, oh, things were better back then, and I wish I could bring it back the past. And all you'll do is you'll just be going back and forth. You won't be here. You won't be here now. And there is nothing better than now. There is nothing outside of this moment, ever. Every moment is the best moment. No matter what it is, no matter what's happening. Doesn't matter. But you need to take a little responsibility in your life. And go get stop eating the garbage. Wean yourself off of it. Replace it. Can you have some of this stuff? Of course. Of course you can. You can have your whatever it is, But eventually you won't want it probably anyways, or you'll have it, you'll you'll be able to know the correct, you'll have balance. You'll know when you can add this little goodie here and this little goodie there, but you never need drugs. You don't need any medications. You need meditation, not medication. And when you meditate, you're not meditating anymore. If you close your eyes and you sit still, you're not meditating if you're going along with whatever's going on in there. Like it starts to go, you start to be into it. You start to blend it with it. You know that now it's taking you over again. You've lost the meditative state that you need to have a presence of mind and have access to the depth, all the good stuff, the patience that you need will come. It all comes from there. The courage to do what you don't think what the ego tries to scare you away from. And you'll love everybody because you'll know. You don't have to like them, but you'll love them because you'll know that it's all or nothing. You can't be the people that you resent, or the people that you're afraid of, or that you have a mental block against or whatever. They're just as good as you are. If they're not, then you're not saved. You're not ready yet. You're not redeemed. You're not liberated. This is the word. Liberated. You need to be liberated from oppression. You should be able to go outside and do whatever you want. Walk anywhere you want. Go up and down the stairs. Find a nice job that you'll like. Sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone. You got to change. Have a change of your mindset. Needs to change from I want and what can people do for me to I'm here to serve. How can I be of service? This is the attitude there's no attitude. You don't have an attitude. You're here to, if someone comes in and says, I need you to help me get the groceries. I need you to help me. Can you help me do this? They need you to physically move your body and go help them. Then you do that. I don't go around telling people what to do. I don't have to say a word to anybody. But sometimes I do, because I know that it's necessary. But I am the example of what I practice, what I preach. My beliefs, I wear them. I go out. I do it. And they see. And then they ask me questions. How come you can do that? And how come this? How come that? I just say, you got the same thing. But you got to sit still. You got, they go to sleep the minute I say that. They don't want to see it. They're afraid of the ego. They know what's up there. They know what's in there. They know. It's a demon. It's a demon. Everyone has a demon, has a dark side to their nature. But, and then when you don't have that temper, the consciousness, see, I try to simplify this as much as I can. You have the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. And the subconscious mind takes over. It doesn't want you to know that there's another side to the whole thing. It's a benevolent master. It doesn't force anything on you. It makes you see the folly. It helps you, the vision, helps you to see the folly of the ego, the folly of the illusion. It's all illusion, but you need it because it has directives in it. Because without the ego, you have to have an ego. But how big of an ego is what? The ego is your ambassador to the world. As you see it, your representative. Now, you have to have an ego because it's your energy. And it has all the knowledge. It's the intellect. It's part of the intellect. And it's okay to have an ego, but it isn't okay for it to run your life and ruin it with its needs. No. The ego, without the ego, it's a ground. Without the ego, you know what would happen? You'd become a nothing. You would become, you would be in oblivion, which is nowhere too. With the ego helps us to stay here. The ego has the directives. It's a mixture of lies and truth. And it's fun. It's a fun little guy. But the thing is, it's also stupid. It's stupid because it can't see. It's blind. It knows feeling. Whatever's going to make it give you a warm feeling. But you can have a warm feeling without getting stuff and adding it to you. You can get a warm feeling. I mean, no one's going to tell you this stuff like this. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I'm not a sugarcoating guy. But I do know what happens because I've already been through the whole shebang. I've had cancer. I had lung cancer, and I didn't let it bother me, and it went away. I had to have an operation. They took out part of my lung. I didn't do the chemo. I didn't do the radiation. I didn't do none of that crazy stuff. I just said, okay, doctor. The doctor said, you got cancer. I need to take it out. So I agreed. I said, okay. I was going to let it stay in there, but the doctor and my wife convinced me. Because the doctor told me, he said it was encapsulated. He didn't know why it wasn't going anywhere, right? But I just, I said, okay, I'll take it, I'll do it. They cut it out, and then they cut it out. I had no complications. Let me turn the light on. It's getting dark in here. I don't usually do videos inside, but no one's here because my wife and my son don't want to listen to me anyways. All right. Now, let's see. Okay, so back to the little cancer schmancer thing, right? So I had the cancer. I used to smoke cigarettes. I did all the stupid stuff that everyone does. I'm not perfect, but I don't do anything that's dumb anymore. Like, I look at it like this, right? If you wouldn't give it to a baby, right? If you have a little 2-year-old in a high chair, right? And he's sitting there playing with his little toys and everything, you're going to give him a cigarette? You're going to give him some pot? You're going to give him some slop food that's disgusting, that will make him sick? You're going to hit your baby? You're going to beat your baby up? You're going to talk to your baby cruel? You're going to judge your baby? Why would you judge your baby, your little ego baby? Why would you bother? Why would you try to fight with it? You don't have to fight it. That's what it wants you to do. It wants you to fight it. It wants you to struggle. It wants you to see how stupid it is, right? Once you become aware, you're going to see how stupid it is. It wants you to try to deal with it, because then it sucks the life out of you. Because then it builds you give it energy and it grows. You see, you give it, like, I'm going to talk about something else in a minute, right? But I'll try to keep this thing to an hour. No one's probably going to watch it anyways, but if one person watches it, it's good. I think I'm going to stop talking about politics, because I don't really care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, anyway, or Trump or a Biden guy. I mean, I have my side, but it doesn't matter. A bird can't, we need each other. Now I'm going all over the place, right? The left needs the right and the right needs the left. A bird can't fly with one wing. So you have to have, as much as liberals are stupid, we need them. And they need us, because they don't know what the hell they're doing. They think everything's a pleasure, super pleasure bowl. And everybody should just do whatever they feel. If just do whatever you feel like doing, right? The only trouble is, when you run that gauntlet, I'll just make this short. When you do what the liberals say, they say, oh yeah, go out and you can smoke pot, you can drink, go have sex, right? And then when you realize that you're broken and you're a mess and you're addicted and miserable and suffering and living in a personal hell, don't go look. They're nowhere to be found. Okay, I'm sick of this. What do I do now? Right? They don't know. They don't know how to fix you. They don't have a clue. They know what they'll do? They'll give you more of what made you sick and tell you to go jump off a cliff. I don't know, whatever they do. right? It's people like me that know how to resurrect the dead, recharge your mind with positive. All right? So now I'm going to go back to the cancer thing for a minute. Now, the doctor, after I had the operation, the doctor says, I want you to go see a doctor, another doctor, a cancer doctor, a surgeon. So I went there, and he says, I looked at your X-rays, and the X-rays look good. He goes, now I want you to have chemo and radiation. And I said, I don't want chemo and radiation. I says, I'll be fine. He goes, the doctor was a good doctor, nice guy. He goes, I really believe that you should do it. I said, well, what's the odds? I've said this before in other videos, but I just want people to know that cancer isn't a death sentence unless you make it that way, unless you won't follow the rules of life. Then you're going to die. Simple. I said, I don't want to do the radiation. What's the odds, doc? He goes, it's 60-40. If you do chemo and radiation, it's 60 you'll live, 40 you'll die. And I said, well, what is it if I don't do it? He goes, it's 50-50. I says, like, 50-50? Oh, 50-50, that's good odds. I'm in. I'm not doing it. I'll be all right. He goes, okay. So I went back and forth to him for a while, and he kept saying, you're doing good, you're good, you're good. And so now here I am. I'm still good. 5 years later. Nothing. No problems. Not a blip. Right? And I've gotten better spiritually since then too, because I've learned more. It's all about knowledge. The knowledge on how to keep yourself in check. It's like spiritual codes you use when the pressure of the ego, it's like a valve. It's like a valve. You find a spiritual valve to let the pressure off. And then you come back, your chemistry set. This is what life's all about. Everyone has temptation. Can't go rise above it. So, all right. So now I'm going to talk about how you feed, how this energy, this stolen energy from your life force, because you're not in control of your life, you don't understand how to handle temptation in the ego. It forms another self in your mind, and it's always projecting into the future, because it can't live. A self within a self cannot survive in the light of the present, of God's holy light. So what it does is it says, it brings you into the future. What's tomorrow, 5 minutes from now, 20 minutes, goes back and forth, because it has to be able to, for you to believe it is an identity, it has to do this. Or it's going to take you have to get into something. You're going to have to get into drugs, into the television, into the internet, into porn, into gambling, into women's bodies, into sugar. All this stuff you don't need. Or very little. A couple cookies here and there, piece of cake. Like this is myself. I have 3 or 4 cookies a month, maybe. I get more enjoyment out of eating broccoli, cauliflower, raw. You have to develop a taste for this stuff. And the ego doesn't have sensual taste. It has an appetite for destruction. You have to have a new appetite. It comes from common sense and intuition. And you'll get it when you trickle charge your mind, because you can't take the light all at once. You have to sit still and slow everything down. You slowing it down every time you sit still and you really meditate. You do real meditation. You don't do guided meditation. You don't do music. You sit still in your bed and you pay attention. You watch your thoughts. And you're always watching them. And the minute you start to drift off with them, you need to snap yourself out of it. Realize where you're sitting. Take inventory. Take it into consideration where you're at. And picture the outline of your body. And do these things, and it will keep you grounded so you don't drift off into hypnosis. This is what hypnosis is. Then you'll be developing the presence of the vision, the real vision that will set you free. Life's not easy. It's not easy. You'll also learn how to conquer stress, which is temptation. And you'll learn how to live with pain and endure. You'll learn to actually enjoy pain a little. Not enjoy it, but you'll know that you can't have pleasure. You learn that you have to have balance. You have to have pain a little bit, and you have to have pleasure. It all comes together. You have to exercise if you want to have good health. You don't have to go crazy, but you need to walk and breathe in, take deep breaths, get some fresh air out in the fresh air, and you need the sunshine, the vitamin D. You need all this stuff to keep you from backsliding. You need help for now. You need help. Everybody needs help sometimes. But they go to the wrong place looking for it. Everyone needs a real friend that they can count on. See, people don't have real love. They don't know what real love is because it's emotion is what they have. They have feelings. What they have is, see, real love can't change to hate and violence. It's impossible. Real love doesn't change. It's not subject to the environment. What you're really doing your meditative practice of your meditative prayer for, what's going to happen over time is you're going to keep a distance. Going to find that the vision of the inner vision keeps you locked in to the real. And this means that you have a certain amount of distance. You keep a distance from everything so it doesn't pull you in. Like, for example, I fuel jets, right? I go to the airport, Logan Airport, and it's busy there. All around me, I go through the airport to come in to work. I get out on the tarmac, start fueling the jets. I got the baggage crew going around me. all different people, all day, back and forth, driving vehicles, coming from this direction, coming from that direction. And I pay attention. I know where I'm at. I know my surroundings. But that's all. I don't care what they do. Their directives are different than mine. It doesn't matter what, if someone stares at me. It doesn't matter. It means nothing. It's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything what other people are doing. It shouldn't have any bearing on what you do. You can't serve your purpose if you're nowhere. Because once you go into, you start thinking about what they're thinking, you think that they think that I think that this, you're nowhere. You're nowhere. You're in tumble down the rabbit hole. You're nowhere. And then you don't want to follow anybody. Now, that doesn't mean that if you see someone doing something, you watch them and you go, I like what that guy's doing. And you think you could incorporate that into your life, make your life better, do it. A lot of smart people, a lot of wise people out there. I know that people are getting wiser all the time now because you're starting to see the collapse of civilization. It's going to collapse. Something new is going to emerge out of it, for better or for worse. People that aren't enlightened don't go in a straight line. They go round and round and keep making the same stupid mistakes and falling for the same lies, and they end up in hell, and they cause others to go to hell with them because they don't know their history. But when you're under God's tutelage, you're going in a straight line, though. You're not going around in circles no more. You have to love yourself. You need to love your ego. Don't resent it. Don't react to it. Don't try to change it. Don't do anything. Just watch. Just keep watching it. And watching it. And you'll grow into the light like a flower grows up, and it grows like a tree up towards the light. You'll be able to endure more light and more truth. And God will give you your purpose. You'll know what you do, and you just go do it. And you don't make excuses. If you did something wrong, you own up to it right away. I made a mistake, and it's done. And you forget about it, you see. You don't carry nothing around with you but real. You want to travel light. That's why you got to forgive, forget. You're going to see that there is nothing but real. You're going to see it. You're going to see the blessed present. That's why they call it the present. This isn't rocket science. It's present. It's the present. You're a present. Do you know how good you'll have it if anyone comes across this video can stomach it? Because this is where it all comes from. The belly. It's where all your strength comes from. You're wired from your stomach. It's the way it is. We're wired. We're wired to be a certain way. And when we break the bond, the mooring, when we come loose from our moorings, in reality, we lose the kingdom and the treasure. But it's always still there waiting for you. And the treasure is endless. You'll get as much as you can handle, and then some. You think idols are treasure? You think you can buy heaven? You think you can sell it? You think you can, this is a joke. That's a joke. Capitalism and these con artists. Let me just say, these people that you see, they're corporate puppets. They're all on strings. They're being told what to say, what to do, what to think. And they're rewarded like pets. They give them a Scooby snack for being there, for being a puppet. You don't want to be a puppet. You want to get, their Scooby snacks. I don't want nothing. I don't want their idols. I have to live in this world. I have to have a car. I have to have, stuff. I have to have it. I don't have to, but you can't just go out on your own and live in the woods. Not unless you have their money. And then they get you. They're going to get you. There's no way around it. This little flesh body isn't going to make it. And they're going to try to take their pound of flesh. Right? So, I'm going to sum this up because we're coming up on an hour now, right? You can really have fun in this life. I have fun. Everything I do is fun. Even if it ain't fun, I make it fun. I find a way through God. You know how I do that? Get yourself a King James Bible, right? Get rid of that other thing that you're reading. It's the new whatever it is. Get rid of it. It's missing. It's got missing pieces. The puzzle. The missing pieces aren't all there. Now, I'm going to sum this up, right? You want to become humble. And allow and let others allow others to give you a rise, exalt you. Don't exalt yourself. That's pride. It's foolish. Now, in the Bible, Jesus says in John that he's the bread of life. Right? To me, Jesus is God. Because to me, you know what? You're God too. And I'm God. And Jesus is God. Because Jesus lives in your mind. In the back of it. He's always there. Now, you have to give up these phony churches and these phony liberal churches. They don't care about you and your liberation. You have to get your Bible, you read your Bible, and you sit tight in prayer and yearn for truth. You meditate right. You sit still, you sit up straight. When you first begin, you're a beginner. And you don't need any effort. You don't need to strain your eyes. You don't have to do any of that. You just have to sit still and watch for the elusive creature and watch how it manifests, how it can change form. It plays God and the devil. This is why you don't take an identity from your thinking. You don't take the thought. Jesus said this. Now, Jesus also said, I'm the bread from heaven. Now, he said, you eat my flesh and drink my blood, right? This is symbology, right? But you eat his flesh and drink his blood, and he is in you, and you are in him, you see. Jesus was God. So, now, the Jews won't accept Jesus as God, right? That's okay. They'll be okay. Some of them. So that's important because Jesus is the Word. Everything the man said was right on track. Same thing with Paul. In Corinthians, get your King James Bible and read Corinthians. You'll see how Paul puts it. He's a great guy, Paul. All right, so now you need to find the depth. The depth of your being is infinite. This is where all the good stuff comes from. It doesn't come from, you'll see, it can't come from the system. It comes from a divine place. It's clean. See, that part of your nature that the ego don't want you to know about, it's pristine. It's an infinite oasis of knowledge. What it does is it will take the intuitive knowledge, the intuitive knowing, takes what you've already know. It doesn't throw it out. Some of it you'll just discard, but it takes what's good and it reshapes it. It reorganizes it. It puts order into your life and principles. Then you'll love everyone. And you'll be able to listen to what they have to say. No matter how stupid it is. Like I listen to what people say. They should vent. That's why you don't stop your ego. It's a lie. You can't stop it anyway. So if you don't stop it, guess what happens? What would have been a struggle and anxiety and frustration, all of a sudden, when it can't pull you in to the struggle, the tug of war, it goes away and you're free. Then it will come back again in another disguise. But you have to see once and for all that it can't hurt you, no matter what it does. And you don't need to change it. And you're going to see all this stuff. Because if your real strength doesn't need to fight, that's what it wants you to do. You don't need to fight with real. When you see what real strength is, you'll see that fighting has nothing to do with it. You'll see that real strength is is awareness and empathy and compassion. Empathy doesn't mean, there's two kinds of empathy. There's the kind of empathy that the weaklings have, that enables people. It's like, here, let me add more sympathy and weakness to you. Let me help you with more sympathy and more weakness. Then there's a kind of empathy that reaches out its hand and says, here, come with me, and I'll guide you to the promised land of strength and independence. That's the kind of empathy. It's a man's empathy. It's not a mother's empathy, where, you know how mommy is. We all know how mommy is, all right? So with that, I'm going to go. If anyone watches this video, if I see a few views coming in, I'll do some more. But if I don't, I'm just throwing one out there once in a while. I don't know. I don't even know why I should even bother if no one watches it. But I watch it. I watch it a few times because it helps me. Because I never know what I'm going to say when I come out here. I think about it sometimes. Today I didn't even think about it. I was going to go try to read some of my writings that I write. And it's like, no, just do it, So with that, I'm going to go. And I'll put this one out there. See what happens. But this, I'm just going to say this, right? This system, any worldly system, all it is con artists. And it's a carnival. It's a carnival of con artists and carnage. And it leads to death. It leads to death of the spirit. You don't want that. You want to be who you are, who you were created to be. You want to be who you are, who you ran from, you want to be what you rebelled from. You want to return. You want reality, revelation, restoration. And you want liberation. And that's it for today. So, God bless you. Anybody watches this, thanks for watching. Like it, share it if you want. Have a nice day.